Live from the Counterpunch Media Studios in Davison, Michigan, it's time for real lives, real families, real fitness. It's time for Derek Noel Fitness.
What is going on, everyone? Derek here for episode 43 of the Derek Noel Fitness live show. Today is a little bit different. I have an interview for you guys. This was a great interview. I had a great conversation with the one, the only Mikey Pancakes Whitfield, which, by the way, is his Instagram handle. You should definitely go give him a follow when you get a chance. But we talk about things like fitness and when he was training and his journey a little bit. And he has also written the book Rise and Hustle, which we will be showing basically a little trailer for you from him that we put in right before the interview starts. So immediately following that, we will be sitting down. I don't really have too much else to say. Make sure you give this a share and a like so everybody can watch this interview. It was a great one. I had a great time chatting with him. I've known him for quite a bit now, so it was a really nice way to catch up with him. And without further ado, here is Mike Whitfield. Hello, everyone. I am sitting here with a man whose work has been featured in Men's Health and Early to Rise and dozens of other fitness and health blogs. He's contributed to Men's Health's big book of getting abs. Say that 5 times fast. He is the creator of Workout Finishers, which if you've ever met or worked with me, you know I'm a pretty big fan of those finishers. He has a personal record of eating 13 pancakes in one sitting, unless he's hit that recently. And what I feel like is most important, he is the author of the book Rise and Hustle, Transform Your Life Physically, Personally, and Spiritually in Just 90 Seconds a Day. Everybody, please welcome Mikey Whitfield.
Love it. Great intro.
Oh, thank you very much. I have Pat McAfee to thank for that. Thanks for coming on the show, Mike.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, why don't we just go through a little bit of a rundown of who you are and what you kind of focus on?
Sure thing. Well, it all started way back in 2003, near the end. At that point, I was over 300 pounds, and I was playing PlayStation, and I was playing football, and I threw an interception. Got extremely upset, threw the remote down, and when I bent down to pick it up, that's when I just kind of had an aha moment. All of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. I started to sweat. I couldn't see my feet, and that's when I realized, okay, I got to do something about this, because here I was huffing and puffing, and that's, I think at that time I was 27, 28, something like that. I shouldn't be doing that at the age of 28. Shouldn't be doing that at any age, but especially at 28. So that's when I decided to do something about my health. And the following January, I jumped on the New Year's bandwagon. Fortunately, though, I stuck with it because I set long-term and short-term goals, and I haven't looked back. I've lost 115 pounds. And I've been able to keep it off, although lately it's been extremely complicated, or not complicated, but difficult with the quarantine that's been happening, because I can't go on the basketball court. But I've been able to keep it off, and now I pretty much show other people how to do the same thing. No gimmicks or fads. Show them the true colors of what it's like to lose weight and keep it off in a healthy manner. and make it fun. I mean, that's really one of the keys to lasting success is make it fun, make it something that you can stick to because you look forward to it. But I've been in the fitness industry since 2000, I want to say 6, something like that. Been a while. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I help people transform their lives physically, personally, and spiritually, just like you said in the book. And that's pretty much who I am.
Yeah. And that is honestly super powerful too, because while there are a lot of people in the health and fitness industry, there aren't that many people who have lost over 100 pounds and then been able to go on to achieve success with other people doing it. Because a lot of times there are people who they do it and then they just kind of assume that they're the expert on it. And some of those people do it in a not healthy manner. Right. And it can really wreck their bodies. So you also ended up educating yourself too, and you became a certified turbulence trainer and made sure that you're doing that, and then just everything from there. And I really think that what you touched on with the fun part is big, because a lot of people view working out as a chore or work. And when people can get themselves out of that viewing it as work, or if they can even teach their kids that working out is fun and it's a way to have fun and it's not a way to work, kids are going to be more likely to stay active, which is awesome. So yeah, I feel like that's super important.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So what ended up getting you to create workout finishers?
Basically came down to my clients. What was going on is typically they would work with me for about 30 minutes, sometimes like 25, it just depends, 25 to 30 minutes. And then I would sign them or, prescribe them some kind of interval workout to do either on the elliptical or the bike or the treadmill. Well, what was happening is I got into that gym when it was in its early stages, so it wasn't full all the time. Well, it got to a point where all the cardio machines were taken up, and so it was time for them to do their interval workout, but they couldn't get to a machine. So we started doing these finishers instead. And so I was like, okay, you know what? This is what I want you to do. I want you to do this bodyweight circuit using this tempo with these exercises. And soon I discovered that we could actually shorten a workout to like 20 minutes or maybe even 25 minutes max, and then add like a 5 to 10 minute finisher. And they were getting the same, if not better results than they were, doing like a 20, 25 minute workout and then like 30 minutes of intervals. So I was like, something is to this. And unfortunately, I was kind of a nerd when I trained people one-on-one, and I would write down like every little data, like, their workouts, their reps, their sets, what their changes were in their body week to week. And I started noticing a trend that those that were doing the finishers, at least 2 to 3 times a week, they were getting the same, if not better results than those that were doing intervals. So I was like, okay, there's something to this, because if I can take somebody's workout time and slash it by, at least 50%, they're going to be a lot more likely to stick with it, because they got to go in thinking, okay, I got to go to the gym and I got to be there for, 50 minutes to an hour. Well, now they're thinking, okay, I got to go to the gym, or I can even do this at home, and all I got to do is put in a quality 30 minutes, and I'm going to get the results I'm looking for. So that's what got me to doing the finishers. And plus, here's the thing: if you get on a treadmill, for example, or even a bike, what are you working? Well, you're working your legs. Now, granted, when it comes to running, you are going to work your core a little bit as well. But for the most part, you're working your legs, and that's it. And that's a great start. Those are big muscle groups. They include your glutes, and that's fantastic. But if we can work our legs and our glutes and our pushing muscles and our pulling muscles and even our upper back muscles, then we are going to create more of a calorie burn because we're involving more muscle. Like, in other words, we all know that the more muscle you work, the more calories you're going to burn. So what I started to do is implement how we can hit all muscle groups with the same effort. In other words, we're not going to go from, say, a jump squat to lunges, because jump squat works your legs. So that means when you get to your lunges, they're probably going to look pretty sloppy because you're fatigued, right? But if we went from, say, lunge jumps to some kind of variety of push-up, and then we tweak the tempo a little bit, then now we're getting we're hitting more muscles, and we're also using high intensity interval cardio or high intensity interval training, because we can put in what's called active recovery. So for instance, a good example of this would be, let's say, a jump squat or even bodyweight squats, and then going into a plank. Well, the plank would serve as an active recovery because it's an easier exercise, but because you're in that plank position, you're going to work your core and work your glutes because you're having to contract them. So we're still activating muscle, but at the same time we're recovering. So now there's an element of high intensity interval training along with hitting more muscle groups. And so that's why finishers are getting us faster and better results.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that, by the way. I am someone who, if I have to get on a treadmill for 30 minutes, I would honestly just rather not work out. So being able to do things, because then I'm super competitive and with myself and with other people. So then you can turn it into a, how can I beat myself? Especially if you do them like the same finisher, like on a Monday every single week to get better at them. And then you can mix it up too, because then it gives you that little drive, and you don't have the tediousness. I don't even know if that's a word, but
I like it.
You don't have that feeling of just being drained of like, oh my God, I have to go get on the treadmill for 30 minutes now.
Right.
But again, I would honestly probably rather be fat than run every day for the rest of my life. Yeah, but I like them because, again, you can really slash down on time. And for people who want to spend an hour and a half in the gym, cool, you do you. But there are a lot of people who don't. A lot of busy people, CEOs, even people working in offices who have kids. This quarantine has really shown me that there are people who really need those shorter workouts. And at the place where I work, which is Fit Body Boot Camp, we've been doing everything digitally, and we've been writing a shorter, more compact version of a full 30-something minute workout so people can get it in for 10 or 15, because honestly, doing something is better than doing nothing. And then we posted at 5 a.m. for people who need to wake up and just get it done before their kids wake up and everything like that, because we want to make sure that they're making time to get it in, because if they don't, then they're going to kind of fall off, and then it just gets hard, especially once you've fallen off the wagon. It gets so much harder to get on the wagon.
Absolutely.
And the other end of that, the nutrition side, when we're going through this, there's also, because again, going back to losing 100 pounds, there's some people who do that very ineffectively. And when I say that, poor decision making, so like eating way under calories and stuff like that. The other end of it is trying to make sure that people stay on their nutrition, and it can be easy and it can be hard, and that kind of turns into mindset. So what do you think is one or two, or if you have a couple things that just come to mind, what are a few things that people can do when they start to feel like they are having a harder time just sticking with a plan that they've had that has worked in the past, that they normally have no problem with, but now that they're sitting at home, that they're having a hard time still implementing?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. This is why I love what I call the habit rollover approach, because everybody is different, right? We all have our strengths and weaknesses. Like somebody may just love fats. You know, they want to gorge on peanut butter, and they love to lather their toast with a bunch of butter and things like that. Whereas people like me, I love carbs, especially sugar. I love sugar. I can eat sweets all day long. And so everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. So going from, let's say somebody like me that is, you know, iced honey bun for breakfast with a Mr. Pibb. This used to be my meal plan way back in the day.
I feel you. I feel you, man.
My breakfast was an iced honey bun with a Mr. Pibb. And then lunch, it was supersized McDonald's, sometimes with a milkshake on top of that. But I would also get a supersized drink. So the lunch alone was probably around 1,500 calories. And then for dinner, it would be chips, pizza, ice cream, all this kind of stuff, right? Well, if you ask me, hey, you know what? We're going to go from that to this meal plan. And in this meal plan, for breakfast, you're going to have oatmeal. And for lunch, you're going to have a salad and chicken breast. And for dinner, we're going to do fish with green beans. I would be like, no, I can't stick to this. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to be fat for the rest of my life because I cannot do that, right? And so what I like to do is say, you know what? Write down 3 to 4 habits, nutrition-wise, that is affecting how the way you look and feel. And this takes a good 15 to 20 minutes of your time, but very well worth it. So you sit down, you write down 3 to 4 habits. And let's say, for instance, one of them is, okay, you know what? I don't drink enough water. I drink 30 to 40 ounces of water, and that's about it. The rest of the time, I do soda and whatever, right? And so that might be one. And maybe another one would be for breakfast, I tend to eat some kind of sugary cereal. And so that would be 2. So those are a couple of examples. So then what you do is once you write down those 3 to 4 habits, then you figure out, okay, what's the first habit looking at this list that would be the easiest for me to work on? And that's where the customization comes in because everybody's different. Somebody might look at this and be like, you know what? Changing my breakfast would be the easiest thing for me. Whereas somebody else may be like, you know what? The water intake, I can work on that first. So let's say, for instance, this person is going to work on their water intake first thing as their first habit. So for week 1, you're going to commit to drinking, let's say, 80 ounces of water every day. Now, here's the kicker, is everything else that you're doing, maybe it's a Snickers bar in the afternoon and pizza for dinner, you're going to keep doing those things. And I know that sounds crazy. I mean, well, that's not going to make much of a change, but bear with me, there's a long-term focus on this. And so you're going to continue with those other things, the candy bar in the afternoon, pizza at night, whatever it is. But that water, that's all you're going to focus on for the next 7 days. And you're going to conquer that habit and make it automatic. And the idea behind this is you want to make that water habit to where it's like brushing your teeth. It's automatic. It's just something that you automatically do every day. I mean, brushing my teeth I still don't like it. I'm 45 years old, but it's automatic. I know that when I wake up and after I have my coffee, I'm going to brush my teeth. It's just something I do, right? Well, the same thing's going to happen with this water habit. You focus on that until you've mastered it and you've done it for a week straight, perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to roll over that habit into week 2. So we're going to continue with that water intake, and we're going to look at the next second easiest habit. So it may be, you know what? I think I can change my breakfast, my lunch and my dinner and my afternoon snack. I'm going to leave that the same, but I'm going to work on my breakfast this week. Now, here's where the habits can get a little tougher and tougher as you move along. It may take longer than 2 weeks. It may take 3 weeks or 4 weeks. But once you've mastered that, you don't move on to the next habit until that other habit is mastered. Then you continue this momentum. And that's how I coach people. Next thing you know is, several months down the road, they're losing weight almost effortlessly. And they're also looking at their habits such as exercise and eating better and all those things. It's automatic. It's like part of their lifestyle, and it's not like a chore. And that's the idea behind the habit rollover. So that would be my recommendation. And like I said, this is exactly how I coach people, is just take a look at 3 to 4 habits, put them in order, easiest to hardest, and start knocking them out 1 week at a time. Now, this is a long-term approach. You may not even lose weight for the first 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even for the first 4 weeks. That's okay, because what you're doing is you're setting up a foundation for long-term success.
Yeah, I agree 1000%, by the way. A lot of people come to me and they want the quick fix. They want I want 10 pounds gone by the end of the week. And I actually just had someone last week send me, hey, I need to lose 10 pounds in 6 days. And I was like, why? What do you have going on? And she was like, I have my wedding. And I just kind of sat there for a second, and I gave her like what little advice I could, but I was straight up with her. And I think honestly too, looking for a coach that can be honest and have those honest conversations of saying, this might take a month or 2 before you even start to see any change, before you'll feel the change before you see the change. That's for sure. Especially on something as like the first habit of drinking more water, you'll feel better. And then you might even see something, because all of a sudden you're going to go like, oh man, my skin's nice. But those smaller things, a lot of people don't realize, like, those small things just add up to the big picture so fast. And I've started telling people, especially now, that you're not going to remember in 5 years from now that you gained 5 pounds when you were forced to live in your house for 2 months.
Right.
You're not going to remember that. You're going to remember the time the time you got to spend with your family. You're going to remember the walks that you got to go out, the uncertainty of the world. You're not going to remember the 5 pounds that you put on,
Right.
or even the 10 pounds that you put on.
Yep.
So there's this, and I've even said, like, this might not actually be the best time for you to lose weight, or for you to lose fat. We can tackle that later. Right now, we're in survival mode. We just need to make sure that we are maintaining our bodies and not letting ourselves go off the deep end, because that's a whole other battle. And then if you're trying to not go off the deep end already without trying to do anything to lose weight, all of a sudden when you try to do that, that's just more stress. And people just add stress on stress on stress. And it can be insane what some people are trying to do.
Right.
So like I said, I really enjoy that approach, and being and knowing that's how it should be. And like, honestly, like, if anyone watching, if you have a coach that's going to promise you 15 pounds in 6 days, run the other direction. Find a coach that is going to be completely honest with you. Use that as a litmus test or bullcrap meter, whatever you need to do. Because I see it so often, and it just, that's one of the things in this industry that just makes my blood boil.
Sure.
Because then it just misleads, and then people get all depressed because all of a sudden they feel like they're not doing something wrong when they don't lose 15 pounds in 6 days.
Right.
So it really, really is a long-term process, and I'm really glad you brought that up, because that is so big. And it's one of those things that I'm going to keep repeating, and I'm going to try and get other people to keep repeating until it's finally a thing. So let's transition into the Rise and Hustle, which, by the way, is an awesome, awesome book. When he says in 90 seconds a day, it's literally every single page. It's one page for things. I think there might be a couple that are like a page and a half, but either way, it is a quick read every single morning. If you were able to put one page a day into the morning routine that you had, or that you have, or that you hopefully are trying to set up, because it really just will make the rest of your day run like gravy, I really recommend picking this up. There are 2 books that I usually recommend for morning routine stuff. One is this. The other one is The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday, which is also a very, very good one. And again, a quick read. So you went, and again, it's not just working out. You got started, and then you switched over into basically just overall health and almost life coaching with the personal and spiritual parts. So what ended up causing that transition into that pivot point?
Yeah, and thanks for the recommendation. I really appreciate it. It's cool that you're supporting it like that, and it means a lot that it means that much to you. So that's
Yeah,
pretty
no problem,
man. Basically, it's funny. It actually happened on the walk. I was walking, just trying to clear my head, and I was actually thinking about my customers, but both coaching clients and people that have just bought my digital products. And I'm just like, there's so much more to this than just our health. Health plays a big integral part in how we look and feel and how we interact with each other. But there's also things that we need to do, that we can do, that's going to help us with our productivity, with our spiritual health, and things like that. And I was just on this walk thinking, what can I do to help my existing customers? And so that's when I came up with this book idea. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to rotate. And it started off as just a newsletter. And what I was doing is, I would send them a newsletter on Monday that had something to do with their health that they can read in 90 seconds or less. And then Wednesday it was personal development, which is, sleep, productivity, getting more done in less time, things like that, mindset. And then Friday was spiritual, some kind of devotion with a Bible verse. And so that's what I started to do. And then I thought, wait a second, why don't I create an entire book and put like 6 months worth of content in this. And then Monday would be physical, Tuesday would be personal, Wednesday would be spiritual, and then I would repeat that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday would be kind of a makeup day. So if they happen to miss one day during the week, Sunday they can read that. And it's going to help people with all three of the biggest aspects of your life, which is your health, your spiritual well-being, and of course your personal life, how you look at things and how you have a perspective on things. And so that's what got me to, when I went on that walk, that's when it hit me like, I got to write a book. I got to put this together. And so it started off as a newsletter, and then it kind of evolved over time into a book. And that's pretty much how I got into writing that. It was a lot of fun. It was a great process, and fortunately the feedback has been pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, it's such an easy read too. Literally just every morning I would go out, I just left it on the counter, and it would just be a morning thing. I would basically pour my coffee, open it up, read the chapter, and just think about how I can implement it, and then move on. And as another aside with books too, make sure when you're reading things, you're actually thinking about how you can implement it into your life, because you could do all of the reading in the world, but if you don't implement, then it's almost like you didn't even read it. So that implementation is really, really important. And again, for those looking, Rise and Hustle, it's a great book. I think we might have a copy at our Fit Body location too. I can't remember if it's there, if someone took theirs home. I think Brian might have left one there, but yeah, so lots of different ways, lots of different things. Big focus for you has been that. We are already running on almost, I think, 25 minutes. So I want to be respectful of your time. I know you got probably a lot going on. You are a busy guy.
That I am. But this is fun though. Absolutely.
Yeah. So where can people find you?
Yeah, well, they can actually get a copy of the book at riseandhustlebook.com. So that's where they can get a copy of the book. And then they can get on my Rise and Hustle newsletter at MikeyWhitfield.com. That's where they can get on my Rise and Hustle newsletter. I kind of switch on and off between putting excerpts from the book to some new content. But basically, it's that same format I've been doing since, I think, late 2014. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday's physical, Wednesday's personal, and Friday's spiritual. And that's where they can find me. And of course, if they're on Facebook, you can find me at Mikey Whitfield there as well. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. And I will make sure that I put links in the show notes for that as well, to make sure that you can find it. Because again, I do recommend, this is one of the book recommendations that I recommend everybody picks up. Yeah, no problem. And I'll make sure that I put links to your socials on there too. If you follow him, his stories that he puts on there are hilarious sometimes. It's basically just ways. How did you get into basically posting things that you say make your wife go insane?
I'm trying to, okay, which one is that one?
I think there was one like, this quarantine got my wife, like, and then you were just doing a bunch of different voices as you were walking and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's on my personal. By all means, befriend me too. It's facebook.com/the Mike Whitfield, I believe, is a link to my personal profile. Add me to, as a friend. Yeah, it's funny because we were all on a walk, and just to help my boys out, to stay sane and kind of reward them from going on a longer walk, because this walk was about 50 minutes. On the way back, I hit Publix, and I got them, I can't remember what I got them, some kind of snack, some kind of reward. And I was going to bring it home, but I told my wife, Sabrina, and the boys, just go ahead and I'll catch up with them. And on the way back, I was like, man, this quarantine is crazy. I think I can do some different voices. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to record it, and of course, I've gotten addicted to TikTok. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's mainly for like teenagers and stuff, but man, I'm on it and I'm addicted. That's been my outlet since I can't get on the basketball court. But anyway, you know what? I'm going to experiment with my different voices. And hey, you're walking with Morgan Freeman. You're walking with, I can't remember who else I did. I think Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars. And I do believe too, in not only personal and spiritual development, but also believe in daily laughter. I think you got to laugh every day. no matter what you're going through, even if you're in a depressed state of mind, find a way to laugh every day. And it just puts such a big difference in your perspective. So that's another reason why I decided to do that.
Oh, I almost forgot. I had one question request, and
Yeah.
it was, how do you feel about having to record basically every single workout you may ever have to record in 3 days?
Oh, wow. Yes. Well, there's the good news and bad news about that. The good news about it was I was able to eat whatever I wanted to. As a matter of fact, I remember Brian and I going, I think it was that Saturday night after pretty much filming all day. We filmed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Saturday night, we went to Mongolian barbecue. And it's basically all you can eat meat and veggies. And then we went to, I forgot what the name of the frozen yogurt place was. Anyways,
it was probably Blend.
It may be. For some reason, it slipped my mind. But anyway, it's you can get like frozen yogurt on a waffle if that's what you wanted to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's by weight, and it was a little over a pound of yogurt that I ate that night. And yet, I came home Monday morning, I was like 2 pounds lighter, and that's pretty much how I ate all weekend. But man, looking back, it was a lot of fun, but it was such a challenge because we filmed. It was like 55 to 60 workouts and finishers. Now, granted, the finishers were a lot shorter, but as you know, they're very intense.
Mm-hmm.
Follow along, so we had to do every single rep, and so it was very exhausting and tiring, but it was a lot of fun. It was a good challenge, and for me mentally, it was really good because it showed me what I could do, what I could push through. And back then I was I don't know, 37, 38, something like that. And of course now I'm 45. But I still feel like that's made an impact on me. Here I am in my mid-40s because here I am thinking if I could do that, I can go play basketball with guys in their 20s. And sure enough, I am. I'm playing basketball. Of course, not now this minute because of the quarantine, but hopefully I'm going to get back on the court with those 20-year-olds, and I can run up and down the court with them. My skill is definitely diminished, but my endurance, I can get up and down. So it was a fun mental game for me.
Yeah, I remember I was actually in the gym for, I think, the first 2 days, and just you and Brian and Craig just running back and forth doing different things and like recording different things. It was hilarious to watch.
I bet.
Yeah. But thanks for coming on again, Mike. I really appreciate it, and a great one.
All right, you too, man.
And there you have it. Had to make sure that microphone was back on. Like I said, great conversation with Mike. Hopefully you were able to take a lot away from that conversation. I would love to be able to have him on the show again, and I'm sure I probably will sometime in the future. If you got something out of it, I want to know, drop something in the comments with your favorite part of the interview, whether it was talking about pancakes or the fact that he was able to eat a pound of frozen yogurt and still go home a couple pounds lighter, because that's how things work. I am looking forward to being able to bring some more of these types of shows to you. I feel like there is a lot more value that can be brought when I have other people on with me versus just me talking to you for 30 minutes myself. So hopefully you're looking forward to this. If you know of anyone that you would like me to try and get on the show, shoot me a private message. I would love to be able to shoot a message to them and see if they would be willing. And without further ado, make sure you give this a like, a share. Make sure you go follow Mikey. He's a really, really good guy, and you can check out his book as well. His Instagram is at Mikey Pancakes Winfield. On Facebook, he is at /the Mike Whitfield. And you can always go to riseandhustlebook.com or the Mike Whitfield, I believe, .com. Riseandhustlebook.com is definitely the easier one to find, though. So if you would like to follow me, you can find me here on Facebook at The Derek Noel. You can find me on Instagram at The Derek Noel. You can find me on YouTube at Counterpunch Media. If you could go and give Counterpunch Media a subscribe, that would be awesome. That would help us out a lot. We're trying to grow our YouTube right now. And besides that, I don't really have too much else. Have a great Sunday night, and let's crush the rest of this week, everybody.